And also, just like I think Dr. Chen mentioned a very interesting point, the one I heard is that a lot of centralized platforms that are manipulating data. I mean, besides the whole Facebook thing, if you guys are familiar with the music streaming, if you, especially younger guys, you know Jay-Z investing in a music streaming platform called Tidal. Tidal was like, it's a huge deal. Like last year, when they do the whole press release, they have Kanye, they have Beyonce, literally all the big shots are out to promote this new Spotify-like music service. But last month, one of the biggest scandals just came out, that Tidal, the inside employee revealed that Tidal manipulates the streaming data for Beyonce's Lemonade for more than 100 million clicks. So its data center literally plays your account, using your account to play Lemonade made by Beyonce for when you were at night. And this has been leaked. And it just shows you how the big companies are controlling people's data. So now jumping to Fresco. We call it a blockchain art asset network because the reason why that means we'll explain later. But you can already sense it's about data. It's about how can we turn artist data into the wealth that can be shared. But before I start, anybody here, everyone knows who Sean Combs, aka Diddy, is, right? Raise your hand if you know who Diddy is. Great, I love this crowd. So the Diddy, recently he just acquired a painting at Sotheby's, New York 2 weeks ago. And that painting was bought for $25 million. It's made by Kerry James Marshall, a very, very recently very hot African-American artist. But guess how much that painting was bought for? The $25 million painting back in '97. Well, let me tell you, if you can Google right now, search Diddy's new painting, how much it bought for. The piece got bought for $25,000 back in 1997. And that's in 20 years. Percent jump around 40,000%. Well, if you think crypto is hot, if you think crypto is crazy, you don't know art yet. You don't know art investing yet. Just take a look at how art pieces today were being sold when it's first in a gallery. You see what's the real game about art investing and why more people should know about investing art. So here's a little rundown what we're gonna do. And so first, to begin with, it's about Fresco. We're the world's first blockchain art asset network. And through blockchain technology and Elastos platform, we were able to enable provenance, promotion, and liquidation of artwork at a global scale. Provenance, I will jump into later, like each section we'll jump into later. We have two main components. First one is Fresh Trust, and second is Fresh Edition. Fresh Trust is the blockchain-based art value measurement system that help you measure the value of art without touching the market value. It might sound a little bit intricate, but later we'll explain more. And Fresh Edition is a digital asset offering system for which an owner of an artwork can issue limited copies of that artwork on blockchain and being sold across the whole platform. So a little bit rundown of the art market. As you can see, our market is probably the oldest market in the stream market we list out, but it has the smallest market cap. Right now, market cap probably around, with a new report that's released 2 weeks ago by TFOF, right now the market is probably at around 868 billion, but our market has been like this since the past 10 years. Even at 2007, the market's still only around 60 billion. Well, take a look at how crypto is going right now after 5 years. Right now, where are we at? We're at like around 450B. But yeah, it just shows you how big our market is. What? Yeah, it just shows you how big our market is. And yeah, the crypto is going down, but you never know because with more mainstream adoption. But just going over the reason why our market has been so static. One of the main reasons is that if you go to any art fair, you go to Basel or you go to the Basel Miami where all the celebrities are there the first 2 days. That's called a VIP day. But when you're at a VIP day in Basel Miami or Basel Switzerland or even Basel Hong Kong, I guarantee you see the same crowd after the second time you go there. And it's always the same group of people that's buying art. Because there's only a small number of people who knows art investing can bring that much. And only a small number of people have access to art investing. Well, that's the reason why our market is not growing, and people has been desperately, even from the inside, wanting to grow it. That's why you go to Christie website right now, you can get a Picasso, original Picasso ceramics for around 1,000 bucks. No kidding, original Picasso. You can see for yourself. It just shows you, but they're marketing to the wrong people. You go to the auction house website, you need to have a bank statement worth certain money to open an account, and then to buy $1,000 artwork. Well, people who go to those auction houses, they're not going for the pieces that's at a lower market, but a lot of us will. And that's just the game, the dilemma that's been facing the art industry. So the artwork problem number 1 is called the unclear provenance. Even provenance in the art world refers to the chronological documentation of who owns this painting before. For example, one just a little bit like mystery unmystified in the art, demystified in the art world is that when you buy an art, rule number 1, you just don't buy from anyone you do not know. You buy from someone who's either established in the society or in the close art circle. And that's what provenance means. Any work you got from auction house, if it's good work, it shows you that at the beginning, it directly acquired from the artist, and then passed down to who, and then passed down to the next guy. And this provenance, sometimes you care about it more than the authenticity of a work, because it means the people before you already put that much into this object. And then when you hold on to the object, with the time passing by, the only thing it causes is going up, with a little bit of fluctuation. But yeah, always been this way. If you guys take a look at 2 weeks ago, the Rockefeller auction from the Christie's, every single piece got sold. Even pieces, the Cuff King, the price estimate at $400, that goes up 10 times the price estimate, and then ended the hammer price at 40,000. No, 4,000. Because people buy it, because it's from Rockefeller. So when you sell that piece next time, you can say Rockefeller owned it before. So that's why you buy art. You buy art because it's owned by someone before, and then you add your name to it. That's why you see people trying to build up their art collection. That's why you see in LA, we have some of the largest private museums. I won't name which one, but you know they open museum for that way because it's easier for them to collect art in the future. I'll just leave it there. So the problem today is that when you buy from gallery and auction houses, what the auction house gave you, if you buy a $3 million painting or $2,000 painting, is a paper slip in a really nice folder that's signed by the gallery owner saying, I certify this mister is the owner of this work. Well, you ought to see some gallery I know, they print out that paper only if you ask for them. And it's been happening in the art world for the past couple hundred years. You see, that documentation is very easily fabricated. Because our world, to be honest, is kind of with people from the inside, when I talk with them, they say it's a Jurassic Park. And it's not above, the exaggeration. Because a lot of people in the art world, they don't know technology beyond email. And to ask them to adopt something as new as blockchain, you truly have to go through a process that shows them what's a problem first. It's not about mentioning technology first. It's mentioning to them what's a problem and how can we better facilitate to solve the problem. And the problem number 2 is a centralized promotion, for which we touched on a little bit earlier. So going back to Carrie James Marshall, how the piece jumped from 1997's $25,000 to 2017, $25 million today. Well, I would just say our artists today, with its academic value, you have to be boosted by a group art patron. That means if you support a student artist, fresh out of art school, how do you promote him? Well, you need a group of very connected art patrons who value the student work, who buy the student early at cheap. And this group of art patrons, using their leverage in the art world, try to get this artist into museum, into exhibition. Because, it's all connection-based. I'm just saying very, very brutally real. It's same thing with the entertainment industry. It's same thing with the art industry. A lot of things boil down, and I know, all come down to connection. So if the artists have a support of a group of art patrons, and then through connection, they get into museum and the gallery for exhibition. Then with this gradual build-up of the art world presence, more art critic gonna come in and say, wow, who's this kid just got exhibited at a major museum? And then more artwork presence coming in, which drive up the artist's price. And then the owners, the original art patron, the people who buy his work cheap, then you sell one or two of his work at beyond astronomical growth. And then you keep the rest and then you store it. Sometimes you do not even store it at home, you store it at storage. You wait for 10 years and then go to consign to auction house. Some people, I just tell you straight up, some people buy artwork without ever seeing it. I sometimes buy art, I'm just, from a family collecting perspective, even a lot of our friends, or even people who's older than me, when they buy art, they just only look at the painting, see who's the artist, and who's the gallery behind it, and then buy art. We store in a factory in storage in New Jersey, never see it for 5 years, and then directly consign to auction house. This is how our game is played. So, and you can see, this is a piece from Christopher Wu, a very, very legendary American artist. And this is a piece called Apocalypse Now. This piece was initially purchased at New York's 303 Gallery in Soho for $7,500 at 1988. And in 2013, this can all be searched. 2013 is auctioned off by Christie's at $26 million. It just shows you how art investing it is, in the really rawest form. Most people, when you Google the art world, they don't tell you this. Even when you buy from galleries, they don't tell you this. But the problem right now facing the art world is that they need growth. And to incite that growth, more people need to know how art works. Most people don't know that how art investing works. So, and with only the auction house and galleries can only promote a certain number of artists per year, which this works before, back in Renaissance. Only the rich guys go to gallery. Like every rich guy buy art. But as you take a look at a global landscape with so many assets floating around, coming from Middle East, Africa, China, Southeast Asia, and even in the United States, the game is changing. A lot of people know how to buy, like a $1,000 off-white sneaker, but they don't know they can buy a Virgil Abloh painting probably at only 10 times the price, and it's a unique work. While the sneaker you buy from Supreme or Off-White, they're unlimited edition. And they're being branding, selling as art. Think about the kind of environment they created for you. I mean, fashion brands are truly geniuses. They're genius. Because they use a leverage that most of us do not know art, while selling all of us that you can own a piece that's beyond its utility value. Think about it. That explains why people will go crazy for a $700 t-shirt that's made simply of cotton. It's the same essential marketing strategy used by art. And next slide. So about the lack of liquidation. So you're after buying a work from the primary market. Primary market means you buy from gallery. You buy that Christopher Wu from the 303 gallery. And the gallery does not sell you unless they can prove you're from the art circle. The gallery only sells to people who's in the art circle and knows who will protect the price by now selling the work, by keeping the work for 4 or 5 years. Because I think, just like crypto world, if everybody sells, market crashes. Same thing in the art world. So when you buy from the gallery counts on you a person's social status as credibility, so that you agree now selling this artist for 5 years or so. But the problem is that it's an arduous process to liquidate your artwork into cash, even today. So you consign to an auction house. Auction house takes a big chunk of a consignment fee. And sometimes the piece, just like this one, sometimes the piece does not get sold. Just simply in the market, there's not that much people going after Gerhard Richter right now. So the piece went unsold. It's a gorgeous piece, but it went unsold. It's just because it's not being sold at the right time. Sounds a lot familiar with how VC world and finance world, even crypto world works, because it's essentially, when you boil it down to the bottom, it's all the same. It's how can you sell an asset? How can you package it, make it into an attractive thing, and sell to the next guy? Like, don't get this wrong. Like, I think this is the fundamentals of how to sell a product. And with the luxury fashion brands and art brands, as well as the VC guys, they master this craft to some certain extent, that they create a flora backed up by academic value that make you want to buy the whole thing. So how can we solve the problem of first, the centralized promotion, while creates anonymous yet transparent provenance and help liquidate art at a global scale, which in the process expand the art population? Because when I see, a lot of people might think, if art were so secluded, like how the hell do you guys get in? Well, I say two things. First, in the art world, there's a food chain. If you're a collector, you're on the top of that food chain. You're the shark in the game. The galleries, auction houses, they all want to get you to buy the work. So me, from a collector family, I was able to leverage that. I scheduled a meeting with them, talking about, I want to buy work. And then I actually want to pitch them my idea in a way that's very smooth. You know, I tell them about the problem they're facing and ask them to say whether they want to adopt, because this is the best way to ask for it. And secondly, like I said before, the art world is trying to open up. Before, 10 years ago, never imagined they want to sell a $1,000 Picasso. Or sometimes they're $500 Picasso because that's 2000 edition unsigned. Yes, sometimes the artist, Picasso has oil painting for 100 million. And some of Picasso's work are not made by Picasso himself, but rather Picasso's estate commissions a printing studio to print work on Picasso's behalf. And then Picasso, if Picasso signed, those pieces are signed edition. If Picasso does not sign them, those are unsigned edition and get sold for cheaper. Oops, I just tell you something in the art world that most people, most people in the art world, they do not want to tell you this, but we feel very comfortable saying this because we're truly bringing some innovation that can help expand the art market while keeping everyone's interest protected. Because if more people think about it, if more people knows that you can get a piece of Picasso ceramics from Christie's at $500, that's cheaper than sometimes when you buy what you call the decoration art from a street store or a branded store from IKEA. Well, you can say you own a Picasso. More people need to know about this. So that's why we have Fresh Trust. Fresh Trust reflects the total value trust allocated to an artwork by users on Fresco. And it's also the total value of fresh edition of this artwork. Fresh Trust is publicly visible and anonymous identity. So what Fresh Trust means, I'll go off the script. So any user, when the Fresco platform live, you can upload the art you own to Fresco platform, which is essentially just like how you submit a piece to an auction house. You upload its photos as well as its description. And after you upload that art data are going to be directly linked to you. And if you're just a street guy who, on the street and you say you own a Picasso, no one gonna believe you because our Picasso original pieces in today's world are all verifiable. So we use a decentralized way for people to care about their own trust while maintaining the whole system's trust. So how can token be added to our artwork? Well, people can add tokens to the artwork, and this is an irrevocable process. To think better of this, I suggest you guys to learn about how there are Western treasure binding for Bibles. If you go to some old museum, some Bible owned by the rich, the industrialist, they add diamonds, they add gemstone to a Bible. Why? Because they want to show affinity to an item, to an artwork, as well as show the process, show that they are the owner of the artwork. Well, we take that process to blockchain, for which you upload a piece. Right now it's a 0 Fresco token, but you can choose to add token to that artwork to show your affinity, as well as all the other people in the system, our critic maybe, or our gallery owner who owns that piece, or your friend. As an artist, as you know, a lot of student artists, they pay $60K, $70K go to art school. Their parents want to support the artist so bad, but the parents just do not know how. Where with this way, the parents can directly add token to the student's work. And this is an irrevocable process. When making it irrevocable, and because it's a way of locking the value inside the artwork, this value, and it does not correlate with market value, because the other bottom line truth about our world is that don't ask any gallerist about the painting's price when you first go in, because prices are only negotiable. You buy one Picasso, if you're a stranger, they charge you the full price. You buy two, and you say you're an established collector, well, we can talk about it, give you a 20% discount. You buy three, while you're a whale, as you say, the crypto world. You buy 3 and you say you're going to keep in your museum. Well, we can talk about different price, sir. This is how it works. Well, with Fresh Trust, we provide an index. So next time you go to a museum, without knowing the market value of each piece from the museum or gallery, you can see a reference provided either by the museum organization itself or people online who love this work that much. Well, due to the various difficulty to directly measure the value of art, as well as the price opacity and over-concentrated pricing power of the top-level players, for which we already explained, the art market tends to intimidate new investors and collectors, creating a social barrier to entry. That's why every time you go to art fair, even though they're like all piles of gold mine you buy from gallery, you know you hold on to 5 years later, it'll go up. But a lot of new players are so shy to get in. Because when you as a stranger go to an art fair, you truly do not know how to talk with anybody. You cannot go there and just ask, how much I want to buy that one. No, you need a smooth way of talking about it. You first go there and say, off the script totally. You first go there and say, wow, this is a gorgeous piece. Who's the artist behind it? Can you tell me about his story? Is it exhibited at major museums and major galleries? Oh, it's represented by you gallery. Oh, that sounds good. I want to make a significant contribution to this artist. Can we talk more? And then you start a conversation. You see, it's a way of how you talk. It's almost the same way as if you're in the PE world. I come from a finance background. If you're in the PE world, when you do leveraging, it's the same thing. You try to buy a company share, you do not just go in and ask how much it's worth. You have to start a conversation. You have to smooth the conversation. So, but this process creates such a huge social barrier, making the art world at a stagnant growth. On the contrary, Fresh Trust provides a decentralized promotional channel for people to directly support art or artists you love, which essentially, if your buddy is a student artist coming from a top student art school, and let me tell you this, each year, almost 90% of the art student with the craft, with the talent, who paid $60K a year for tuition, does not find a job after art school. Because each year, only the top galleries can make you into art fairs and be a star. And so you left over a lot of students who has talent, but cannot support themselves as artists, and then has to wait tables in LA or Soho. I'm saying the very brutal truth, because me personally, I come from art family, so I have a lot of friends who go to the art route, but can make a living to sustain. There are a few lucky ones who get to know a couple gallery owners, and then the career take off. This very brutal, but sounds a lot like entertainment world. Just leave it there. So the Fresh Trust example, like we mentioned before, so beyond the treasure binding, you also have what you call the colophon, for which the Chinese painting, if you pass on to the next guy, the other guy, if he truly likes the painting, he'll tend to add his seal or add his commentary after painting. This value addition process becomes a part of the artwork. This is going to be huge for the art world because we bring this process onto blockchain. We bring it in a way that keeps anonymity because brutal truth, also another brutal truth, most people does not want to let you know which art they own, but most people want to sell 1 or 2 pieces from their collection. Anonymity is very important in the art world, where we were able to achieve that with blockchain. So Fresh Trust and Elastos. So when we decided to work with Elastos, we think it's really a home run for both of us because Elastos allows the issuance of digital asset. Also has a provenance-seeking aspect of blockchain. This aligns perfectly with what we try to do with Fresh Trust. Moreover, Fresh Trust reflects the total value of fresh edition of an artwork. And fresh edition, think of that as a print and moldables. The limited edition artwork on blockchain is solely based on Elastos. And also, when you guys think about adding token to an artwork, this irrevocable process, it's also a POS method, a proof of stake. But rather than proving which user owns most token, it's going to be which artwork holds the most token. And this process can reflect and compare the intricate value of art on blockchain. The circulation of the token in the Fresh Trust, which is locked inside, will be achieved by Fresh Edition. How, we'll explain in the next slide. So Fresh Edition, after all this artworks has different number of Fresh Trust into them, how can we get the tokens recirculate back to the to the community. It's the same process that artists think about, is that after the artists sell 2 or 3 large oil paintings to the rich collectors, how can the artist create more presence in the art world? Well, the artist has already found a great solution. You just simply create more art, but you do not handmade them. You commission a studio to make them, and you sign it, or you say it's come from you. And this is called artist as a brand. It's very, very honest, very, very, I think, very bold assessment of the art world, but we just try to tell you the truth. Artist essentially is a brand. Ever since Andy Warhol, ever since, the Da Vinci, it's always a brand. Anything come from the brand sells. There's sometimes you go to a gallery viewing, you see people holding an empty book of the artist, and they ask the artist sign it. After the artist sign it, you can directly flip it off on eBay. For, if it's from a star artist, you can sell for $1,000. But essentially the same thing as a limited artwork. Anything artist touches, if you're a brand as a good artist, it turns into gold. So same logic, we take it to blockchain. We allow the art owners to issue digital editions on blockchain, judging by the amount of fresh trust in an artwork. So if an artwork right now on the network has around 500 tokens, so the artist itself can choose to release how many editions he or she wants to release. So if, for example, he or she releases 10 editions, so each edition going to be cost 50 tokens. And what people are buying with the 50 token is essentially a part of the artwork data. There's a huge distinction. It's not a part of the artwork, but it's a whole new set of artwork. It's a part of the artwork data coming from the artist's blockchain wallet. Because today, when people buy a COS, if you guys know COS, or if you know Basquiat, when people buy a Basquiat, the work is on paper. People buy it because it comes from Basquiat, because various sources verify it comes from Basquiat. You buy art because it comes from that artist, pure and simple. So we change that process on blockchain, which means you can sell that art to more people globally. Because one of the main problems with the print and modables today is that sometimes you have the Picasso worth $1,000 as a 500 edition. If you want to ship that thing to Ukraine or to UK from New York, well, sorry, the shipping costs, they're going to still put that in a huge crate, a wooden crate, because they want to protect the artwork. And then you're going to take you a month or two to get the artwork shipped to you. And so this process, as you can see, is very inefficient. It may be good if you're, if you're shipping a $5 million piece, but it's truly not worthwhile when we try to ship, like a $2,000 piece. But on blockchain, with Fresh Edition, people can claim. So imagine one day you buy this work from this artist, and then you're in Ukraine. The artist released edition in the United States, released 5 editions. So you stayed up the whole night to buy the edition at a time when the artist announced so. So you get your hands on edition. You can choose to display that in any medium you want. Because essentially, we ask each art owner to upload HD photos, or if it's sculpture, the 3D printing data to the platform. So you can choose to display it on paper, on canvas, or whatever. But the importance is that you get to prove you own this artwork from the artist. Because each artwork gonna have a QR code that when you scan it, it shows that it comes from the artist's wallet address directly to yours. So the Fresh Edition owners can also trade this edition, just like when they trade a certificate, like on exchanges. Because this is going to be quite interesting, and I think this is going to elevate the artwork to a whole new level. Because right now, when you buy an art, let it be collectible or the upscale artwork, shipping is always a concern. Most people right now, you ship a larger piece from Japan, either shipped by plane, which double or triple the shipping cost, or shipped by the freight, which by ship takes 2 to 3 months to the United States. So a lot of people shy away from buying art because most art are not easily accessible. It's not like when you buy, instantly it's here. But with Fresh Edition, with blockchain, we're able to achieve that because the proof of provenance is what collectors been seeking. And this is a direct example of how Fresh Edition works in our world, and they already have a precedent. On the bottom, as you can see, is Andy Warhol's very famous work, the Marilyn Monroe. This piece, because it's a unique piece, it's an acrylic on canvas, which means Andy Warhol drew it himself. So the piece was auctioned off at 4.4 million. We're on the top, as you can see, if you're not from the art world, you might think, wow, they look almost the same. It's just a little bit of a color difference. Where that piece got sold for, $100,000. Why? Because if you can see clearly, that's a screen print for which Andy Warhol printed out around 250 editions. And this is one of the 250 with almost the same pattern, just different color code. And that's one got sold for 100,000 because it comes from Andy Warhol. Anything comes from Andy Warhol has value. If you have one, you can verify from Andy Warhol, I'll buy it. Because this is just how the art world works. And so it just shows you see the colors different. Well, let me tell you, there are a lot of other color variants that's made by Andy Warhol. So the Andy Warhol changed the bottom picture into a red background. That's another unique work. That's another 4.5 million. Welcome to the art world. So same thing goes for other artists. KAWS, Virgil Abloh. Virgil has been doing this, but pushing it to a whole new level with the whole Off-White. So going off a little bit on Off-White, Off-White essentially what they're selling is that they sell the unlimited edition artwork, but they create a limited edition by telling people it's gonna sold out very fast. Same thing for Supreme. Because when people like to buy something when it's scarce, and people want to buy it because the thing feels special, because other people think it feels special. So that's why the artist, if you're smart, you want to support yourself as an artist. You have to think about how to build yourself as a successful brand. And the first edition of Elastos, just like we mentioned before, Elastos allows digital assets be issued and then be traded. This is a technical foundation for first edition. And the other things we already mentioned before, so. And to approach this, we did a quite interesting route because we did not do an ICO. We did the world's first ICD and abandoned ICO process. Out of the total 500 million token, we gave away 300 million. For anyone to claim one token, they need to do an art test of 100 questions. Well, the reason we do that are for 2 points. First, it comes from my direct experience as an ICO investor. Well, if you invest well, invest early last year, good for you. You get crazy returns. But if you invest sometime late in the game, December 2017 or January, you know how the market goes. Even the good tokens are not delivering, the 5 times, 10 times return. And not to mention certain projects coming from certain country that lose its value 90% or more. Just search online, I won't name which one, but you know which one. So you can see ICO is a good tool for a company to raise quick money, but it's at the expenses of the retail investors, where I can handle the financial risk myself, but what about someone from a developing country? What about the soccer mom from Nigeria or from Singapore who need to support 3 of her children? But then she realized that, well, I invest something in this token and right now I lose 90% money. Who do they go for? Easily. They do not have a SEC to go for, so they go for their local version of authority. And who do the authority go for if they do not know technology? They go after technology as a whole. This is literally what's been happening in the whole blockchain world. Is because you ask a bunch of retail investors who are not that sophisticated to invest in something. Yes, indeed, you liberate the access to finance investing. But you do not tell people how much they should comfortably invest. You do not have a way to filter through companies that's been doing the ICO. So you have this market, you have someone from, developing country that developed like 200 million Ponzi scheme and run away with everything. This has been happening in our today's age. So when we do this in the art world, when I first started doing this, one thing I know very clear after consulting my lawyer from New York as well from Switzerland is that if we have the capability to raise venture funding, which is the sole assessment of how good a company is, we do not need to go through ICO that draws a lot of attention on us negatively, as well as making retail investors potentially suffer from market volatility. Because even though a token may be good, What if the bigger players come in from the finance institution? What about the hedge funds coming in and then they short the whole market? You already see what happened earlier this year. I don't think it's a market going down or market being negative. It's just the major players, when they go in a market, the first thing they do is that they create FUD. Then they short the whole market. And then they get in at cheaper, and they drive up the market. This is what you call a cyclical progress of history. And it's happening in every single industry. So that's why we stay away from ICO. We did the first ICD because what we need to do is that we get a token to community. At the beginning, we do not care where the community is from because the community is from globally. And after getting the token released, then it's about, in a process, we work hard to develop our own platform because the tokens are out there, because through the process, we have educated enough people about art. This makes the whole thing worthwhile. And we design our whole ICD test is that it's not going to be the same each week. Is that each week the test gets harder. And on week 3, we ask people to go to their local museums and galleries, and then you can take the test. Results has been very, very crazy. Out of total, we have around 110,000 people complete the test, and 89,000 people pass the test. And the total pass is about 140,000 people. And for that week 3 of the museum and gallery visit, we have around 35,000 people going to their local museums, taking photos, and thanking Fresco for them to learn more about art. I think we already, in a part, achieve our mission. Because in a week, Metropolitan Museum Art, it can handle around 15,000 people. But with us, a blockchain company, we let 30,000 people go to a museum globally. This is enough to raise their interest, and indeed it does. And also jumping on the first edition, think about in the future how museums globally gonna become a gold mine. Because Met as a museum, any museum, you're gonna hold around thousands of artworks. Right now, museums are in a very, very difficult time because museum cannot sustain on its own tickets. Museum, instead on Fresco, if they release blockchain editions of their artwork without hurting a single bit of the ownership of their physical art, but if Met says it sells 100 editions of a piece on blockchain, think about how much money it can raise from its 300,000 collections. We're thinking of ways to not destroy the art world, but to help our world generate extra revenue. Because the best way to do so is to expand the art collecting population. When we go to a museum, right now today, sometimes they don't even allow you to take photos. Sometimes you can only take a photo and go. This does not create attachment. When do you create attachment with something? It's just like when do you create attachment with crypto? You have to first own it, and then you care about it. Same thing in art. You care about art when you become an art collector. Where with Fresco, we let more people globally can own a part of art on blockchain. So that's basically what I explained for the museums. As you can see, the next time in the future, hopefully next year when we go to the museum, you can directly see how many fresh trusts in the painting. And when you scan the QR code, you can see whether there are fresh editions available, or you can choose to add fresh trusts to this painting if you truly like it. So this is a comparison of us with Elastos and why we are such a good fit. Because digital asset, when you talk about other digital assets, I think art has its own unique value, just like we said before. Art is probably something in this world where you can sell crazy high price without a solid explanation. It sounds funny, but just go to any auction house and see some pieces. If you don't understand, well, the people in the art world will say, sorry, you don't understand art. Where do you actually don't understand? Or they are trying to protect this industry, or they are trying to protect the people who bought it. Where what if you want to start collecting? Well, welcome to the game. You can be a part of art collecting, where safely store money in art. So this is the art world support. As you can see, we have talented student artists, as well as the DSL collection, which holds one of the largest Chinese contemporary art collections in the world, as well as the artists from Zayed Institute, which is one of the largest art institute in Abu Dhabi. And about our blockchain industry support, as you can see, things are quite interesting. When we reach out to Brock Pearson, Charles Hodgkinson on Twitter, and then show them what we can do with our blockchain, both of them reply in 10 minutes, which is totally out of shock at the beginning of the project. And then we realized there are companies that has support from one of the co-founders of Ethereum, and then raised $75 million. I won't say which one. But we have two supporters, and even with Elastos co-founder, Dr. Han, and Elastos founder, Dr. Chen, where we're releasing all the tokens for free. As you can see, I think we're playing for the bigger picture. We're thinking collectively as a community. We can raise a voice in the art world, telling more people that people deserve access to art. And when more people invest in art, it won't crash the system, but rather it will make the system flourish more. So yeah, this is all about Fresco. As you can see, because today it's a Sunday afternoon, so I go a little bit off the script. I just want to tell you guys, definitely look into art investing. Definitely from today, go to the online auction site and begin to know more about artists. You know it's a very safe way to store money, but just make sure when you go in with someone who knows art. Thank you very much.